There has been such an incredibly large number of ridiculous drone legislation out there, you can't even keep track of them. It's like whack-a-mole, and you need to just keep knocking them down. But this one is pretty serious, and the future of drone flying in the United States is actually threatened by this latest bill put out by Senator Lee from Utah. Now, whether you're a recreational pilot, an FPV flyer, commercial operator, or even an RC airplane enthusiast, this is a serious threat, so you need to pay attention. Now, I should say that Vic Moss just put out a video. Vic is from the Drone Advocacy Alliance, and I haven't watched the video yet, but basically it looks like he's not really concerned about it. But I think we need to be concerned about it in the way that we just really need to educate our lawmakers, because some of these rules, like this one in particular, is just so asinine that it just shows you that they don't understand anything about flying drones. And so these laws that come up and the ideas that these guys have, like, they really need to be educated. And this bill S 1249, really needs to be paid attention to. So on April 2nd of this year, Senator Mike Lee from Utah introduced Senate Bill S 1249, and it's called the Drone Integration and Zoning Act. Now, on the surface, it sounds like a bill about airspace management. But when you actually sit down and read the bill, it becomes quite clear. This could completely destroy commercial drone operations and hobbyist flying across the country. And not just for drones. This is for just about anything that you fly remotely in the sky. Now, here's the big thing. This bill would give states, local governments, and even individual property owners the authority to control the airspace up to 200 feet above the ground. So in other words, they could make it illegal for you to fly over their property, even if you're just passing through at 150 feet. Now, this is a massive shift from the current system where the FAA manages all airspace in the United States from the ground up. Now, there's a reason for that. It comes down to safety, consistency, and national standards. So whether you're flying a drone in California or North Dakota or wherever you're flying, the rules are all the same. And that completely makes sense, right? This bill completely ignores how drone operations actually work in the real world. Most commercial drone work, like delivery drones, real estate media, infrastructure inspections, agriculture, all of that happens under 400 feet. It has to. Now, a lot of that also happens below 200 feet, but under this bill, that airspace would be carved up into thousands, literally thousands of separate zones, and each of them could have their own local laws. It would create a very confusing patchwork of regulations that would be nearly impossible to follow. Imagine needing permission from every single homeowner along your drone delivery route, or not being able to fly at all because your city banned drones outright. Imagine planning a infrastructure inspection or a farm survey and finding out that one landowner along the way refuses permission for you to fly over their field. Like, this isn't just a nightmare for drone businesses, it could end recreational flying entirely in many places. Like, you could no longer just go out into the country and fly because somebody that owns wherever you're flying probably doesn't allow you to fly there. And you could be charged with a crime. It's completely ridiculous. Now, this is also a huge threat to RC airplane pilots, FPV racers, model aviation clubs, because these aircraft most often operate below 400 feet as well, and most often below 200 feet. And model aviation groups like the AMA have spent decades building relationships with the FAA to keep the skies safe and accessible for hobbyists. This bill threatens to erase that progress completely. Now, this isn't the first time that we've seen a proposal like this. Back in 2017, that's when I started flying drones, there was a similar push called the Drone Federalism Act, and it failed because the drone community, along with the FAA, made it very clear that splitting up airspace control like this is dangerous, it's inefficient, and it's unworkable. Now, here we are again, facing that same bad idea dressed up in new language. Now, I'm sure that many of you aren't surprised that this bill came from Senator Mike Lee. He's been on a kind of a rampage against drones for quite a while now. I don't know what his problem is with drones. I can certainly understand the privacy issues of it all, But it just seems like he's not quite educated enough to make a bill that actually makes sense. And this is proof of that. Now, the other thing is, it gets even worse. This bill also says that drones would have to stay 200 feet away from any structure over 200 feet tall, and they'd have to stay 50 feet above that structure. So think about what that means if you're flying in a city with tall buildings. You would be completely boxed out of the lower airspace. You would not be able to fly. Delivery drones, photographers, inspection teams would have nowhere to operate. It would completely shut down the entire system. And while the FAA would technically still control airspace above 200 feet, they'd be required to work with local governments and property owners, creating even more red tape and confusion. This would turn the current system, which already has tools like Lance to manage airspace safely, into an unworkable, inconsistent mess. This isn't about privacy or safety. The FAA already has rules and regulations in place to protect both of those. This is about power, handing over control of the national airspace system to thousands of local jurisdictions that have no experience managing aviation safety. And here's the thing, this bill would absolutely devastate small drone businesses like myself. The drone industry is expected to grow to over $23 billion by 2030. That's $23 billion. But most of that growth comes from small companies like you and me. And it's not just Amazon or Google, it's real estate photographers, it's roof inspectors, farmers using drones for crop management, wedding videographers, law enforcement, fire departments, all using drones for public safety. All of them would now face an unpredictable, chaotic maze of local rules that could shut down their operations overnight. And think about the jobs that this would kill. Thousands of small business owners, independent contractors, and creative professionals rely on affordable, consistent drone access to make their living. If this bill happens to pass, it's probably not going to because it's just so dumb, but if it does, many of those jobs could disappear. And here's another thing to consider. Inconsistent local laws could make it nearly impossible for emergency services to operate drones effectively for search and rescue, for firefighting, or disaster response. If this bill happens to pass, even those life-saving missions could be delayed or blocked by local airspace restrictions. Now, the good news is this bill is still sitting in committee, and it's been there for a while. I'm going to put up on the screen the names of all of the committee members, and if these happen to be your legislators, please write to them and let them know what you think. This bill cannot get out of committee, and the only way it's going to get shut down in committee is if we speak up. And right now, the AMA and many others in the drone community are sounding the alarm, but they cannot do it alone. We need the numbers, just like we did in 2017. It worked. People let their opinion known, and it shut down that bill. And I'm asking you, if you care about this hobby or this career, this technology, contact your senators and your representatives today. Tell them to oppose S1249, the Drone Integration and Zoning Act. I'll put a link in the video description that's going to help you find your legislators. Also, please share this video with anyone who flies drones, RC planes, or cares about innovation and aviation freedom at all. This fight is too important to sit on the sidelines. I know I keep asking you to do this, but this is really, really important, you guys. We really need to let these people know what the facts are and what the truth is, and how bills like this can be devastating to so many people. Thanks for your attention today. Hit that thumbs up if I give you anything of value. Subscribe for more videos like this. Have a great day, everyone. And as always, fly safe and fly smart.